Did you press the button tonight?
I pressed the button.
You pressed the button.
And
okay.
the button now says end live video, so keep me away from that until we get to the end. If you weren't with us last night, we were 25 minutes into a show when we were about to wrap it up, and I realized that I never started the show to begin with. It was one of the best shows we've ever done. Trust
Absolutely.
me. Joe Chaffee, FiOS 1 News, Long Island, and FiOS 1 News, New Jersey.
And Joe Rayo, FiOS 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley. On a rather active night. I mean, it's not a terribly, in terms of severity, Joe, I've seen a lot worse, but we do have thunderstorms and showers moving through, as we can see on the radar, and they pretty much will be done with our area probably by or soon after midnight.
They've been weakening as they've been moving eastward. There was something today that just didn't work, that didn't add up right with respect to severe weather because of the fact that you had, I mean, I noticed it this morning. Anytime I see fog out my way,
yep,
that's a danger sign as far as having thunderstorms survive. There was a marine layer that was, for Long Island, certainly difficult to dislodge. And then in eastern Pennsylvania, westward, there were a lot of clouds. There was this kind of this sliver in between that in New Jersey it got into the 80s. They got into some daytime heating, but even there, once the storms just came too far east, the sun is down, daytime heating's cut off, the cells fell apart. They had a severe thunderstorm watch up. It really wasn't necessary.
Well,
in hindsight,
yeah,
everything's great in hindsight.
As I was leaving for work, it was a broken type sky, but through the breaks there were blue sky and altocumulus clouds, which form what sometimes is referred to as a mackerel sky. And from years of watching the weather, especially on a day when possible severe weather may threaten, when you see that scaly type of cloud cover, that indicates instability, enough so that there may very well be strong to even severe weather. But it was not, a perfect or dynamic type mackerel type sky, but enough so that I said, well, it looks like we are going to get into some action.
Right.
And we did, but, like I said... It
wasn't crazy.
It wasn't crazy, yeah.
And I don't see there's no warnings up, or at least for us. Looks like there's a pretty good strand of storms. That may be more heavy rain than anything else, too, because I noticed the lightning strikes have virtually disappeared. So.
Well, the lightning, I was looking at this on back in the weather office, and... the radar there was indicating that there were some lightning strokes now being reported over central and southeastern portions of Westchester County, more than, let's say, we've seen over the last couple of hours. So maybe some activity was starting to become lit up, so to speak. But
well, that might be this area here that's now moving into southwestern Connecticut.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we could run quickly through what's going on in the tropics, so we could look at Tropical Storm Kirk, which last night was open wave Kirk. And this morning it was upgraded back to a tropical storm. And if you look, Joe, on the satellite here, it actually strengthened to about 60-mile-an-hour top winds and a 998 pressure. The latest recon, the pressure's gone up, and you can already see that there's shear going on. The clouds that are to the west of Kirk, near and west of the Windward and Leeward Islands, are all blowing pretty much southwest to northeast. So there's another area of strong wind shear that this is going to run into, and more than likely it's going to wind up falling apart after it passes through the northern windward, southern Leeward Islands on Thursday. Excuse me.
So it really doesn't look like it's going to be anything of any tremendous concern to anyone.
Well,
certainly it's a moderately strong tropical storm system, and it will maintain its strength for a little while, even though it will be getting ripped up or sheared up a little bit.
And in the meantime, take a look at in the upper right. Let me make sure everybody can see it because it's on the edge of the picture. This was subtropical storm Leslie that became post-tropical storm Leslie, which is forecast to become subtropical storm Leslie on Friday, and may eventually become tropical or even hurricane Leslie. I don't ever remember. I racked my brains out with this, and correct me if I'm wrong, because nothing comes to mind here with this, but I don't ever remember a storm that started as a non-tropical system that became subtropical, that became post-tropical, and then became tropical again. That we've seen it go from up until that second step, but then to become post-tropical, they're done. This is becoming post-tropical, has become post-tropical, and then is going to become tropical again as it moves southwestward. I mean, this is just nuts, and it's huge. Look at the circulation of the thing; it's monstrous. That gale center that's out there in the central Atlantic.
I don't know. I kind of remember a storm many years ago. We might be going back into the 80s with this, off of Africa, which had a similarly large circulation. I think his name was Flossie, and Flossie looked very large. This looks very large too. And as the thing is heading south and west, obviously it's getting into a better environment to pick up tropical characteristics. Certainly a warmer environment. So
it's going to be around for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just going to be out there.
Kind of just meandering around in a weird fish storms.
All right. So now this is, by the way, here's the Hurricane Center's latest. This is the 8 p.m. advisory. In case you're watching this on a replay later, 12.7 and 56.1. So it's about 250 east of Barbados, and top winds at 60, moving west northwest at 18. Going across the islands tomorrow during the day, and then out it goes later in the day tomorrow night, and then after that we move out into the Eastern Caribbean, and I kind of think that shear is going to really take its toll on it. I don't know how much is going to be left.
Yeah, you kind of wonder. Let's say Friday afternoon and evening. On the Friday afternoon evening news in Puerto Rico, as that thing is passing just to their south. How many people are so shell-shocked from what happened last year?
Oh, still.
The very mention of anything that might be tropical or anything that has a name must get people really
of course. Well, in the Leewards as well, and in all those islands that were hit really hard by Irma and Maria. The Maria anniversary is upon us. Right. So but this is nothing anywhere remotely close.
Right.
And then, of course, we have Rosa in the Pacific, which is forecast to become a major hurricane during Thursday, turn northward and then turn northeastward, moving into the Baja Peninsula sometime maybe late Monday. And here's how it looks on the satellite loop. And by the way, further east, you see this little spinning out here. That's going to pass south of Hawaii. That probably will also become a tropical storm or hurricane as it goes by. Pacific is just very, very busy and will continue to remain so. And the West Pacific, we still have Typhoon Trami, which we don't have time to look at, but that's going to impact the weather in the longer term. So I guess the questions for us, we're getting toward the weekend, Joe. We've got this front doing what all fronts now do until further notice, and that is they stall. And looks like we're going to get a wave of rain here Thursday night into Friday morning, and then after that, I think the weekend looks okay.
I would agree with you. I'd concur. For the first time in a long while, we have high pressure that actually is going to move right in and over the Northeast instead of just north of the Northeast.
Right.
And that looks like that will set the stage for a reasonably nice mix of sun and clouds on Saturday, and maybe a bright and sunny day on Sunday.
And you can see Rosa coming northeastward. This still looks like it could bring some really big rains to Arizona and New Mexico, and maybe even into Colorado. That it winds up going up into Canada, northeastward. If this is the case with this trough that's out in the west, and we seem to get a little bit of a backdoor front here sometime on Tuesday. But overall, the weather for much of next week looks relatively reasonable from the standpoint that we're not going to get too much rain.
From your lips to God's ears.
If only.
Since, well, you're going to be away, you certainly would like some nice weather, and I'd certainly like, while I'm working in your stead, not to have to worry about hurricanes or tropical systems or severe weather. Just like a nice, easy, quiet week next week.
And we're still thinking, in terms of the long range, there's still a lot of things that are in flux with regards to the upper air, without getting into it for the umpteenth time. The Pacific is rearranging itself. North America is rearranging itself, and models keep going in different directions in terms of whether it's going to get cool here in the east in a longer range, or stay warm in the east overall, warmer than normal anyway, in the longer range. That's still a problem that has to be worked out. So why don't we just say hi to everybody on the board, because we started late tonight. Let's see. Jason Schaefer had some sun today. Adam Hewitt, all clear now in Toms River, he says. We've got Bob Apple, a few showers in North Philly today. 1.12 inches of rain in about 15 minutes. You know, some of those storms, when they were moving through eastern PA, did put down a lot of rain in a short period of time. James Harris just said lightning and thunder there in the Bronx. Just checking here. Only a snow lover would say this. Ali Fadil. I wouldn't want to waste a good pattern in October.
Yeah.
You know, I never really kind of saw it that way. It's not as if, it's not as if you're handed, what's the word I'm looking for? In other words, it's not as if you're handed, say, X number of days, and this is all you have during a 3-month or 4-month period.
Right.
The pattern will be what the pattern will be, regardless of whether it shows up in August, November, December, January, February, or March. And we saw that last year. You know.
And by the way, as one person who has already experienced a 14-inch snowstorm in October, I don't need another one in the immediate future.
I agree. So you know what? We're going to cut it short tonight. Both of us are tired. It's been a rough last couple of days. So we'll say goodbye since we are coming up at the top of the hour.
Timothy Feldman being a smart...
what does he say?
He says, did you
do
it again?
No, I didn't do it again this time, Timothy. I got it right this time. Okay? I need a technical producer to do all the handwork, you know, because it's not easy to switch graphics and speak complete sentences at the same time. Okay, any last minute comments?
Oh, nope. Addison Green. Greetings, Addison.
Hello, Addison. Good night, Addison. Time to go to bed because you have to be up at work tomorrow for the midday along with Brittany Borer. So be sure to tune in then. Joe and I will be on at the top of the hour.
And of course, we have Chief Meteorologist Brian Fitzgerald and Jeffrey Banson to kick off your weather day first thing in the morning on Thursday.
And Joe and I will be back tomorrow night. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.